Hello, everyone, and welcome to Slow Talk Real Life. I'm your host, Mike.
And I'm Abby. We are so happy you are here with us today.
Today, we have a very nice topic to talk about.
Yes, today we are talking about kindness. Specifically, we are talking about why small acts of kindness matter.
That sounds like a great topic, Abby. I think this will be a very positive conversation. So, let's start with a basic question. What is a small act of kindness?
That is a perfect place to start. Let's look at the words. First, we have small. This means it is not big, it is a little thing.
Okay, so not a big thing.
Exactly. Next, we have act. An act is an action. It is something you do. The word act is related to the word action.
Something I do. I see.
And finally, kindness. Kindness means being friendly, generous, and considerate. It is the quality of being kind. So, a small act of kindness is a little action that is friendly or helpful to someone else.
That is a very clear definition. It doesn't need to cost money, and it doesn't need to take a lot of time.
That is the most important part. It is simple.
Okay, so now we know what a small act of kindness is. Let's talk about why it matters. How does it make the person who gives the kindness feel?
That's a fantastic question. Many people think kindness is only for the other person, but it is also very good for you, the giver.
Oh, really? How?
Well, when you do something kind for someone, your brain releases chemicals that make you feel happy. They're sometimes called happy chemicals. This feeling is sometimes called a helper's high. It's a good feeling you get when you help another person.
Helper's high. I like that. So, being kind can make us feel happier.
Yes, and it does something else. It helps us feel connected to other people. When you help someone, you build a small bridge between you and them. It makes you feel part of a community.
Can you explain the word community, Abby?
Of course, a community is a group of people. They might live in the same area, like a neighborhood, or they might share interests, like a school community or a work community. It's a feeling of belonging with others.
So, kindness helps us feel like we belong. That's a powerful idea. Now, let's think about the other side. What about the person who receives the kindness? How does it affect them?
Well, the first feeling is usually happiness. It feels good when someone does something nice for you.
Of course.
But there is a deeper feeling too. A small act of kindness can make a person feel seen.
Seen? What do you mean by that?
To feel seen means you feel that people notice you. They recognize you exist. Imagine you are having a very bad day. You feel sad, and maybe you feel invisible, alone.
I can imagine that.
Then a stranger smiles at you, or someone holds the door for you. In that moment, you don't feel so alone. You feel seen. Someone noticed you.
So a
Small thing can have a big impact. Exactly. That is a great word. Impact. An impact is a strong effect on something or someone. Even a small act of kindness can have a big impact. It can change a person's whole day.
This is really helpful, Abby. Can we talk about some simple, everyday examples of small acts of kindness?
Yes, let's give our listeners some easy ideas. The easiest one is to smile at people. A warm, friendly smile can make a big difference.
That's a good one, and it costs nothing. Another one is holding a door open for someone.
Yes, or saying thank you to a bus driver or a server in a restaurant. It shows you appreciate them.
Right, acknowledging their work.
Another easy act of kindness is to give someone a compliment.
A compliment. What is that?
A compliment is when you say something nice to someone. For example, you can say, "I like your glasses," or to a friend, "You are a very good listener."
Okay, saying something positive about a person. I like that.
One more. At a store, if you only have one or two things and the person behind you has many things, you can let them go first.
Oh, that is a very kind thing to do. All of these examples are small, easy, and free.
Yes, anyone can do them.
That's a great point, Abby. These small acts are accessible to everyone. It makes me think about something else. Does kindness spread?
That is an excellent question. Yes, it absolutely does. Scientists and sociologists call this the ripple effect.
The ripple effect. That's a fascinating term. Can you explain what it means?
Certainly. Let's create a story. Imagine a man, let's call him Person A, is rushing to a building. He holds the door open for Person B, who has her hands full. This is a small act. Person B feels a moment of warmth and gratitude. Later, Person B is feeling positive from this small kindness. She's at a coffee shop and gives a genuine compliment to the barista, Person C, saying, "You make the best coffee, thank you." Person C, who was feeling tired, now feels appreciated and smiles. Exactly. A small act of kindness is like that stone. The act itself is small, but it creates ripples of good feeling that spread out. When you are kind to someone, it doesn't just affect you and that one person. It can influence people around you. Finally, Person C leaves work and sees an elderly man, Person D, drop his bag of groceries on the sidewalk. Because Person C is feeling good and appreciated, he doesn't just walk by. He stops and helps Person D pick up all the groceries.
That's a beautiful story. The kindness traveled from one person to the next, like a wave. Each person's small action made the next action possible.
Precisely. Witnessing an act of kindness can lift our mood. It can restore our faith in people. It makes us more likely to be kind to the next person we meet. This creates a chain reaction of positivity.
That's a very clear and powerful story. It shows how one small positive action can create a wave of goodwill. But Abby, if kindness is so simple and powerful, why don't people do it more often? Are there things that stop us?
That's a very thoughtful question, Mike. It's true that even with good intentions, we sometimes fail to act. There are a few common barriers. A barrier is something that blocks our way or makes it difficult to do something.
That's a powerful thought, a chain reaction. Can you give us an example of how this might work in a real-life situation?
First, one of the biggest barriers is being busy. Our lives are often very fast. We're rushing from one place to another. We might be thinking about work or family or our own problems. When our minds are full, we might not even notice the chances to be kind that are all around us.
This has been a wonderful discussion. Let's do a short summary for our listeners.
Another barrier can be shyness or social anxiety. Some people worry about how their kindness will be received. They might think, what if the other person thinks I'm strange? Or what if I do it in an awkward way? This fear of a negative reaction can stop us from acting. A great idea, Mike. Let's review the main points. And finally, sometimes people think that a small act is just too small. They might feel, how can my small action change anything in this big world? This feeling can make us do nothing because we think our actions don't have a real impact. First, we learned what a small act of kindness is. It is a little, simple action that is friendly and helpful. It does not need to be big or cost money.
Those are very relatable barriers, Abby. It makes a lot of sense. So, what can we do? How can we overcome these barriers in our daily lives? Second, we talked about how kindness affects both the giver and the receiver. For the giver, it creates a helper's high, making us feel happy and connected. For the receiver, it can make them feel happy and, more importantly, seen.
Excellent question. Let's make this very practical. For the first barrier, being too busy, the key is to practice mindfulness. This means paying more attention to the present moment. Take a deep breath when you're walking outside. Look at the people around you. When you are more aware, you will start to see the opportunities for kindness you are missing. Then we talked about the ripple effect, how one small act of kindness can spread from person to person, creating a chain of positive actions.
This has been a wonderful discussion. Let's do a short summary for our listeners. And we also discussed the common barriers that can stop us from being kind, like being too busy or shy, and how to overcome them by being more mindful and starting small.
A great idea, Mike. Let's review the main points.
That is a perfect summary, Abby. It really covers everything we talked about today. It's a simple idea, but so powerful.
To all our listeners, thank you for joining us today on Slow Talk Real Life. This was a wonderful topic.
Second, we talked about how kindness affects both the giver and the receiver. For the giver, it creates a helper's high, making us feel happy and connected. For the receiver, it can make them feel happy and, more importantly, seen.
We have a small question for you to think about this week. What is one small act of kindness you can do for someone?
Then we talked about the ripple effect, how one small act of kindness can spread from person to person, creating a chain of positive actions.
We hope you have a wonderful and kind week. Goodbye, everyone.
And we also discussed the common barriers that can stop us from being kind, like being too busy or shy, and how to overcome them by being more mindful and starting small.
Goodbye for now.
That is a perfect summary, Abby. It really covers everything we talked about today. It's a simple idea, but so powerful. To all our listeners, thank you for joining us today on Slow Talk Real Life. This was a wonderful topic.
We have a small question for you to think about this week. What is one small act of kindness you can do for someone?
We hope you have a wonderful and kind week. Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye for now.